Okay, here we are. We're putting together the Singer 111 W150 today. I'm sitting here in my utility trailer that basically follows us around the country when we're RVing. And it has all my crap in it. And as you can see, there's just tons of stuff probably that I don't need, but it's in here, so I take it with me. I'm gonna set the sewing machine up outside today. It's pretty warm here in Arizona, so I'm gonna make an effort to get this thing out there where you can see it in the light. I tried to do that this morning, had some burro visitors that kept making a lot of noise and the wind was blowing, so I decided to pause it, and we're coming back in the afternoon. No wind, hopefully, and we're gonna see if we can show you guys how this thing sews. Okay, here we go. We're gonna put this sewing machine in this table right here. This is what it came with. This is the bobbin winder, thread stand, all that good stuff. Here's the belt. It is sitting right over there, so you're gonna see me carry this 70-pound machine and put it in this table, so you know if you have to deal with this, you're gonna need some help. This thing is not light. It's got clips back here. Gotta make sure those are straight. And we're gonna... Okay. Just like that. Ooh, shaking a little bit. Just like that. Pretty simple, really. I mean, just getting it in there, but... And I move this thing around quite a bit, so... I'm gonna lift it up, show you guys what the bottom looks like. That's basically the bottom, the old gears and all the stuff in there. Has a drip tray, because you basically, this is a manual oiling machine, so you manually oil this. It doesn't have an oil bath like a lot of the newer machines. So we bring it down, belt on there, and then bring the machine down. And your belt is perfectly where it's supposed to be. So that's basically the setup. You have your servo motor on off button. You have your pedal. Makes the machine go. You have your plug. Got your thread. So we're gonna go ahead, plug this thing in, and see if we can sew something with it. I know there's a bunch of people that are trying to find, well, let me back up a little bit. If you just go online and you start looking at, you know, sewing machines for sale like I did, and I'm sure you've all been there, there's a ton of people looking for sewing machines to sew leather. And inevitably the question is, can my sewing machine sew leather? Well, the reality of it is, if you look around enough, any sewing machine can sew leather. If you look at these pieces that they make up, basically, if you put two of them together, they make up an eighth inch piece of leather. Or an old belt that I have, I'll show you in a minute, sewing on it, it's like a 1/4 inch if you double it. And the reality of it is any sewing machine with a needle will go through a piece of leather. It'll go through most material, right? So what are you limited by as far as when you say a leather sewing machine? Well, you're limited by the stitch length, possibly the size of thread that you can use in the machine. A lot of leather workers want a larger size thread. They want like a V92, which is this, to put bags together so they're strong. Or a 138 thread, which is this machine's capacity technically. And the 138 is actually what I'm going to use on my canvas for the boat top, so that it's a thicker, larger thread. Or even up to the 200 series threads, like the 207, depending on what you're making. You know, if you're making gun holsters or hats or something where you want a really prominent stitch thread length and look, you're gonna want a machine that can sew a heavier thread. My Singer Heavy Duty that I bought at Walmart, or I bought online, that you can get at Walmart, is a great machine, and it'll sew this leather all day. It'll sew small pieces of leather that's light, suede, that kind of stuff. Will it do it well? It doesn't do it bad, but well is an undefined term, right? Because if you have a machine that you bought online or at Walmart for $200 or $225 that's plastic, and you use it to do nothing but sew heavy material, it's probably not going to last that long. It's not made of cast iron. You guys saw me put this machine into this base. This thing's been around 87 years and it's still sewing like it was brand new for the most part. So yeah, are you going to spend $200 at Walmart or $250 online for a so-called Singer heavy duty? Sure, and it's going to sew leather for a while and probably get you through a few projects, and eventually it's not going to work anymore. And it's just my thought process with that. I went through the whole gamut of why I bought that machine in the first place. I really didn't have any idea I was going to sew leather with it, but there's a lot of leather workers or people trying to make bags and sew patches on hats and all that kind of stuff. And there's a specific machine for that. There's a specific machine they sell to do these projects, and those lighter home use, even though they call it a Singer heavy duty, are just not. Yes, they'll do it. I'm not going to say that they won't, because I've done it on mine, but they're not specifically designed for that. And hence we have this 87-year-old beast right here that weighs 70 plus pounds, and it will sew leather all day like it's its job. Here we go. We're going to start. You can see it'll kind of jump, takes off. But I mean, you can control this pretty well. It's not like you can't control it. You can. And I have no thread in there, so I'm going to bury the needle right here with my hand. And I'm not pushing the material by any means. I'm kind of, you can make the material go this way or that way, and that's where you get an awkward stitch or not a straight stitch. If you're moving the material, you see it moves with the presser fit down that way. But if you just kind of let the feed dogs, the underneath material here, this is not feed dogs, it's this little thing. You'll see it come up and down. Watch right here when I press the treadle. Ready? Okay. See that? Those are the feed dogs. Those are pulling this material through there, right? Along with this needle. This needle feed, like I talked about before, this is needle feed. So you watch the needle's moving. It's going forward and down, forward and down, forward and down. So it's pulling, they're pulling from the bottom, the needle's pulling from the top. I'm going to try a bunch of different stuff through it that I have. I haven't sewn most of this. I have sewn some of the leather on it, and the canvas, as you'll see, but I've got a piece of boat vinyl, and I bought this piece of veg tan tooling leather from Harbor Freight, from Hobby Lobby. It's 4 to 5 ounce trim piece. It's pretty thick. I mean, as far as thick goes, it's 1/16 of an inch. I can double that up and see what this thing will do. So as I was doing this top stitch, it just kind of balled up and made like a big cluster underneath it. And I was like, what? I don't understand. And then I looked up and my presser foot was up. So it's just one of those things. That's why I talk to myself, presser foot down, hold the threads back, sew kind of thing. Like the basic of things that I can't seem to remember because I'm old. So here we go. We're going to toe on this. So we're going to sew on this top seam here again. See if we can get it through this shiny bag stuff. And there we are. We're stuck. Okay, broke a thread. It's just not wanting to do this. I don't understand. So this is the veg tan, the 4 to 5 ounce. It's basically 1/16 of an inch. Stuff I got from Hobby Lobby. This is some other suede style. Not really suede, but leather. It's a little, not as thick as this stuff, not as stiff. This is boat vinyl I did earlier with this machine. I'll run this through again. This is four pieces of boat vinyl that I've kind of chewed up a little bit. And then this is the canvas boat top. I was working on the tension, some of the tension issues to get this thing dialed in. It was pulling too much tension, so I backed it off. If I put this through, I'll do this boat vinyl first. You can check it out. See how it sews. This is obviously the longest stitch length, the 6 inches or stitches per inch that this machine has. So I'm just gonna come in here. Okay, roll my needle forward. Nope, I gotta go right there. Okay. So see, I tightened up the tension for the leather, and that's what happened. And obviously that's supposed to happen because this is a lot lighter than that leather. So it's pulling the bottom thread, the black bottom thread, the bobbin thread, through the top of the stitch, which indicates that your tension's too high. So to sew the canvas, obviously, I mean, that's just like any material. You always have to practice with a scrap piece to get your tension right. But honestly, this machine, and I don't know whether it's just because it was designed to set at one speed and go forever, and once the tension's set, it's good. But if you're adjusting your tension a lot on this machine, it's like the lady that sold it to me said, her husband said, well, my wife says it's finicky. Well, okay, finicky is exactly what I'm experiencing with this machine, and it's just the tension. The tension is so precise and so finicky that you really have to get it dialed in and just kind of keep playing with it on every material, you know. So looked great on that 3 pieces of leather. Now we have the 2 4 to 5 ounce veg tan leather from Hobby Lobby. Got some oil on there from my machine, and we're gonna see how this works, because this is probably what everybody is wondering, is will it sew this, you know, a little thicker veg tan leather, 1/16 of an inch, so it's got 1/8 of an inch of leather. The presser foot has more than enough room. In fact, you can fit like a 3/8 inch, 1/4 inch under there, no problem, but I don't think, you know, here we go. It's one more thicker than this is thicker than these, but this is harder. So I think this will be the real test. Make sure my phone doesn't shut off because of the heat and the flies. Okay, so, oh yeah, see, burying the needle in this veg tan, can already tell it is gonna give it a little bit of a fit. We'll see. Here we go. Hesitating. You can see it almost stopping and hesitating, and it's not, of course I'm not sewing a straight line because I'm not paying attention. Let's pull it out. 3 like 1/16 of an inch pieces of softer leather, and it sewed it pretty good except for the couple of the skips in the corner, which I'm sure was my fault because everything else looked fine. Tension looked good, all that stuff. The canvas looked good. I was still dicking around with the tension, so, you know, that's just me not knowing how to sew really, and getting, I mean, I know how to sew. Everybody could sew. You sew in a straight line and it goes, and so it makes a stitch. But you know what I'm saying? To get good at it, to get proficient at it, you need to learn this tension thing. And I think that one of the drawbacks of maybe this older machine, or maybe it's just my learning ability, is that it has, you know, some issues with getting things really dialed in. I got a piece of thread stuck in there, and you got to kind of check it every once in a while, and you know, it's 87 years old. What can I say? So let's just, all right, we're running out of light here in Arizona. I got to get this thing dialed in and get this. That was a pretty good stitch, like I said, on that last one. I'm going to try to follow my work with that one, see where we end up, keep it straight. I don't know, I should try this thing or not. This handy dandy edge guide. Let's try that. Well, that seems to work for now. Okay. That's probably my best one yet. Yeah, I used all the tools you're supposed to use. The edge guide, all that good stuff. Yeah, that was pretty good. So that's that. No, it's that one right there. Is it? Shit, I can't remember. God dang it. Well, I'll have to do another one. Let's try it again. I know it was straight. It was that one. It was the middle one. Now I know. It was that middle one. Because there's good tension. No knots through like these. It's hard to see. These are holes. Those are knots. You can see the black knot coming through. Let's try it one more time. Got mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are out. One in the middle. This one. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. One piece of the 4 to 5 ounce veg tan. It's just a practice thing, I guess. I mean, using the tools, practicing, getting it better. But this thing does throw a hiccup once in a while, and it starts doing dumb shit, or dumb stuff, sorry. So, yeah. All right, one more pass before go inside. I'm getting bit by mosquitoes for sure. Okay, let's try this. One more pass. All right, bury the needle. There we go. And see, when it's on one piece of veg tan, not two, doesn't labor at all. Punches right through it with this number 20 needle and this 92 thread. Doesn't even put two pieces in there like I showed you. It labored. It kind of has to torque through it. But one piece, the 16th of an inch, 4 to 5 ounce veg tan, it cuts through it like butter. Doesn't seem to be a problem. Okay, that one. Those last two are probably those are the two right in the middle. Those are probably the best two yet. Everything's coming together. All right, we'll see how this thing does. I'm not sold on it yet, honestly, to tell you. It's a lot of work to keep it running, to keep it sewn straight, and maybe that's just a me thing, which I completely accept and understand. Maybe we're in the era of instant gratification, and I should be a little more patient with this 87-year-old sewing machine. It is really cool, gotta admit. But yeah, I'm striving for perfection, especially for my boat top and some of the stuff I want to make. Hopefully, if this, like I said, if this one's not cutting the mustard or doing what it's supposed to do, I'll be moving on. Trying not to be sentimental, but it is what it is.